we've got some modifications to make on our sleeper twin turbo Fairmont. In case you guys haven't seen any previous videos, we have a basically junk LS1 in here. It was junk at one point. We welded the block back together. You can see that in previous videos with a little bit of nitrous, and it has twin turbos that you can't see right now because they're hidden under the bumper. And I did that on purpose to make this thing a sleeper, but we've got to get this thing ready because the guys across the street have a twin turbo Malibu and they want to race. And if you know anything about your boy, I'm super competitive, they're super competitive, and we're just doing it for fun. But if I'm racing somebody, I want to make sure that my car is going to perform well. And as you may have seen in the last video, we put this car on the dyno and it made 600 wheel horsepower flawlessly. So we're great in the power department. However, we have another issue, and that is traction. Right now the car is on a 26/8 slick, and I actually tried to put a bigger wheel on it, but with the car's rear end that's currently in it, it's an SN95 rear end, so it's slightly wider than a Fox body rear end would be. The tires rub horribly. So right now we're stuck with a 26"8" tire, so we have to look for other routes to gain traction. And one of the most popular things is increasing our front end travel. Now the reason for that is you want the front end to be able to come up to distribute more weight on the back tires, because more weight in the back of the car means more traction. I did actually have some spacers on the front of the car. However, they made the shocks bottom out and you absolutely could not drive the car on the street. So I took these things off, but now I've decided that we need that travel back. I'm going to recreate these, just not quite as large. That way we don't bottom our shocks out. But let's go ahead and get into tearing the suspension apart so that we can get our strut spacers made and increase the traction of our Fairmont. Once we get our strut spacer built and in, we're gonna take this thing back out on the road to see how much we improved our 60 time, if at all, or if we just wasted our time. And as you can see, all of our lovely turbo jazz going on around here. Don't mind the professional welds. Those are holding just fine. Motherfucker. The competition. All right, we got a little sidetrack there, but now we have our strut out. We're going to have a flange nut like that, a second nut like that, and then our stud like this. So essentially what this does is it actually shoves more of this shock down in the tube. That way we get more up travel. But what you have to be careful about is that you don't shove it too far in and end up bottoming the shock out like our first spacer did. Okay, so here's what we were working with before. We had about 4 inches or so of wheel gap, which you can see there, about 4 1/4. And that was our max travel. That is not good for no prep or street racing. And after we added our spacer, this is what we have now. So now we have roughly 8.5 inches of wheel gap. So now the question is, how much travel does it have and what does ride height look like? So we went ahead and added our spacer, we threw our wheel on, and this side we did not do anything. So this is going to have the stock travel. We're going to go ahead and raise the car up and compare the stock travel to our spacer side, the amount of travel that our spacer side has. And that's it. That's all the travel that we have on this side where we haven't put the spacer yet. And here's the amount of travel that our spacer side has. Right there. So we've got almost 8 inches of travel. We're gonna lose a little bit of that because we still have to hook up our tie rod, and I know that's gonna limit it by probably about 1/2 inch. And we also need to make sure that the geometry of the suspension is gonna be okay with this much travel. So we're gonna do a little bit of tweaking and then go from there. Once I get this alignment halfway figured out, we'll be able to go take this thing for a test drive. Okay, we've got the car done. I've got the front end pretty much aligned, a rough alignment, you know, for the good old eyeballs. Now we're gonna take this thing out to an undisclosed closed road, and we're gonna try to see what our 60 foot has increased to. So let's get in the car and head out and see if we did good or if we did something bad. Good, the alignment must be close, and we haven't bottomed the shocks out yet. Get some gas. All right, we're about here. We're just gonna do a little burnout like I did the last time. Keep everything the same and try to launch this thing and see what happens. See if our 60 foot gets any better. Round 2. Alright, so we're getting better every time a little bit, but problem is neighbors are probably going to start calling around here in Mexico, and we got to get out of here. You know, we're on some old 26-inch tires. I just don't think that they're enough to get the front end up high enough to really use the travel that we gave it, but whatever. We're going to hit it one more time, and then we are going to get the hell out of here. Okay, so we spun quite a bit, but we did improve our 60 foot. It was a 1.9 instead of like a 2.2. Still roughly the same ET, pretty slow. I mean, it spun the whole way. I mean, it spun the whole way. So let's try it one more time. a success. The car's not broken, although I was getting a good thump out of it. I think the U-joint and the drive shaft might be going out. But we're gonna take this thing back, and to get it any better than this, it's gonna have to have a bigger tire on the back. Right now it's just a 26 by 8. I've got a 28 by 9 at the shop, but it rubs the quarters and doesn't fit very well. So we may revisit this when we're able to stick a bigger tire on it. Until then, I'll leave you guys with one more nasty pull, and that's where this video is gonna end. Thanks for watching. Going to start off in third, and we'll roll into it. Let's go check out the competition.